Hey everybody, Matt Hartman here for Drunkard's Walk. Thank you so much for listening this week. A big thank you to Jesse Lee for our theme music and Nick Harmio for our artwork. And as I tell you every week, we love the fact that you're listening and we really appreciate it. And if you'd like to give us a topic suggestion or check out our merch or contact us or anything you'd like to do, check out our link tree. That's linktr.ee/drunkardswalk. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love if you love what you're loving. Love what? Ugh, gosh, that's terrible. Well, we're going to start the show now because I clearly have run out of things to say. Enjoy. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Drunkard's Walk. It's me, Matt Hartman, one of the hosts of Drunkard's Walk, and I'm here to welcome you into the loving embrace of a Drunkard's Walk podcast. You know, we believe that all of our listeners are just as important as all of our other listeners, and more important than all of those people that do not listen to Drunkard's Walk. And that's why we welcome you, and we're going to give you a nice podcast embrace, but it's not, don't worry, there's no physical touching going on. And it is not any kind of thing you need to worry or call HR about or anything like that. It's just going to be for your ears, and it's just going to be our melodic tones. And of course, the we that I refer to is myself and Jethro Nolan.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to sign up for any of what you were putting out there.
There he is, hugging your ears.
So don't tell HR, don't tell anybody. It'll just be our little secret, but I'm going to put something in your ears. And it's love. I'm putting love in your ears. That's essentially what you just said.
You know,
creepy.
When you phrase it that way, Jethro, I'm uncomfortable too. And I started this whole thing.
Let me put love in your ears.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No,
that's
good.
That's essentially what you just did.
Is that what I did?
I
want to kick it off from the top again? Here, let me go. Let me give it another shot. Okay, here we go. We're going back to one.
Take two.
Back to one, everybody. Back to one. Here we go. Hey, everybody, Drunkard's Walk. We're going to fuck your ears.
Wow. You went hard on that one.
Did I do that? I went the wrong way, didn't I?
I'm tempted to one-up you, but I feel like we're so early in the episode that we don't want to get to turn our listeners off too much. So congratulations to the two remaining listeners who are probably Matt and Jethro at this point.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for continuing to listen, me. Hey, the episode was marked as explicit, so they were hoping for it, and let's give it to them. That's what I say.
Right.
I always say, let's just give it to them.
You wanted this, listener.
This is getting worse and worse as
terrible.
I go.
And the strange thing for me is that you're leading. Like normally, I'm the bad cop.
Yeah,
I'm the bad guy.
I know.
And you're the reasonable, sober one, but not today, apparently.
No, not today. We're doing a little role reversal.
All right, then. Well, then you know what? I can't wait to get to something about Star Trek. I'll tell you what.
Well, I can't wait to get to some...
When I did the MIT puzzle hunt, it was...
I'm hoping to talk about some esoteric brain psychology that no one has ever heard of before and know a shit ton about it. That's what I'm looking forward to. How do I get that knowledge, by the way?
Brain psychology is redundant because it is psychological.
See, there we go. Now we're right back into it.
I can't help myself. I can't.
For those that have never listened before, certainly you're not continuing to listen because you started and you were like, "What is this? This is garbage."
No, yeah. If you chose this episode as your first one, you made a bad miscalculation.
Yeah, a real mistake. But in case, I will remind those who have listened before that we take a little walk through Wikipedia here, folks. We start at a topic that we ended at last week, and we head off to a destination, and we only use the links on the page to try to get there in the quickest route possible. It's a Wikipedia race, I think, is what the kids call it. Is that right, Jethro?
Oh, the kids are always calling it that.
Yeah,
on the street.
The kids call it that on the street. So we're excited to do that, and we know where we're starting because we know where we ended last week. And for those that didn't listen, it was with Blake Schwarzenbach, who was, of course, the lead singer of Jawbreaker. I mean, I don't have to tell people that. Everyone knows that. But where will we go, Jethro? Where will we go?
I mean, I don't know, but I think we should ask the guy who's in the Zoom call with us.
I think that is a great idea. And as a matter of fact, this guy got a name drop last week. It is none other than my own neighbor, Jesse Evans. How's it going, Jesse?
Hey, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for coming onto the show, and sorry for everything you had to listen to up until this point.
Oh, this has been great.
I apologize. Oh, it's been great. Okay.
It's been great. Yeah.
There we go. Maybe there's 3 people still listening then at this point.
So for the listener who can't see the Zoom call, Jesse, you have behind you in the room that you're recording this in a wide variety of musical accoutrement. You have a digital drum set, it appears. You have at least 4 guitars. You've got amps. So you I'm guessing you're a musician?
Oh, no. That was here when we moved in.
Okay, so all right then. You're just a lazy redecorator.
Don't touch it. Yeah.
Came with the place. You missed the ukulele.
There we go.
I see it down there. It's down there in the little white one, right? Little white.
Oh yeah, that's actually that's actually my daughter's that I painted for her to look like the guitar from this movie called Coco.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Very nice.
Not that your listeners can see it.
Yeah, they can't see it, but it is beautiful. It does look just like the guitar from Coco. So there you go. Very well done. So yeah, so what happened, Jethro, is that Jesse L.E., who was our musician Jesse, left Pittsburgh, and so I had to search for another one. And I was lucky enough to find one here in my neighborhood. So I have not found a Jethro yet to replace you, but
there
I'll
are
let you know.
There are perilous. I'm irreplaceable.
Crap.
So good luck finding a Jethro.
So yeah, so as I mentioned, Jesse here is my neighbor. That is how we know each other, not through improv, which is strange to anyone who's been listening to the podcast on a regular basis. But we met. I don't know. We actually met probably like 4 or 5 years ago, I would say. But we really only started hanging out like recently. And because we
have a mutual friend.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend. Who's our mutual friend?
Well, I guess we both have mutual. Our friends have mutual friends. Your daughter is friends with my daughter.
Right.
Our friends are mutual friends. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. So yeah, so we he has a daughter. I have a daughter. They go to school together, and they also hang out and play together and things like that. So we were lucky enough to meet each other through our children.
Yes,
which is a weird thing, but yeah.
Well, yeah. But it's nice if you like the parents of your kids' friends.
Yes,
because that was not usually the case with my experience growing up. Like your kid had friends and they were fine and whatnot, but their parents were, weirdo oddballs or they didn't get my hilarious sense of humor or I was a weirdo oddball to them. Like, and it never quite synced. But if you can. If your kids and the parents all get along, that's pretty awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
And they live close. What's better, man?
Yeah, no, it's super good because also Jesse is a fan of bourbons. So I get to walk down to his house, drink some bourbons, and then just walk on home. And it's the greatest setup in the history of whatever. In fact, that's why I shouted him out last week. If you recall, I was drinking a bourbon called Remus, which is one that I tried first from your little sampling kit there that you had, which was awesome. And I was just saying how great it was and how I owed that to you. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So tell the listeners here a little bit about you. We know that you're a musician. Is that what you do full time? Do you record are you a major record label person or something?
Are you Beyonce?
Yes, I'm super famous. I'm surprised you guys haven't heard of me. No, I am pretty amateur, honestly. I've been playing music for 25 years, 30 years, something, 25
You're still
years.
Learning then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm still trying to get the hang of it. But I don't do it professionally. I've played in bands my whole life. I started my first band when I was 12. And it's been like a major part of my life. It's actually how I met my wife. She was a fan of the band that I was playing in, and
I believe that's called a groupie.
You know what? She doesn't like when I call her that.
Well, you didn't. I did. So
yeah. I'll let her know. So that's how we met.
So what do you do then during the day if you're not doing music?
I am a user experience designer. I design software.
Oh.
Right. So tech by day, music by night.
Yes, the music stuff has been kind of put on the back burner. Now it's just a fun little hobby that I do.
It's just like improv for
Yes.
us.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
it's a fun little hobby that we do. That translates into it's a shitty business.
Yeah,
it's definitely
no way
true.
to monetize.
Yeah. So is there anything then? So you're not playing like now or anything? Are you in a band now that you could like plug or anything like that?
no, we're so we every once in a while I'm in a group that like puts out like a short video. The last I think we went under the moniker Friends. I'm sorry, Fwens with a W.
Oh, okay.
Before that, we were Half Past Late. Before that, we were the Stop Sound. Before that, we were Offshot.
Wait a minute, is this the same band that just keeps changing names?
Yes, that's them.
I feel like that's cheating. Like I feel like there should be some sort of huge breakup that causes you at least change members, and that's why you change names. Like,
no, it's a rebrand.
Oh, that's
I don't know. I mean, I'm no marketing expert, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to get a lot of traction if you keep changing your name up.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Okay. Well, right. Hey, if it's working for you, I say keep going. Oh,
no, it's not.
Although I will say,
stop.
It's more luck than science in terms of marketing. I had put out like a call. I was making a playlist for myself for like, hey, I want to listen to happy music or good music or interesting stuff. And so I put a post on Facebook and was like, hey, tell me about a band that you're into. And one guy posted a band called Fart Barf.
What?
So it is a terrible name. And they wear these like, those like Halloween rubber masks that completely cover your face and have hair and everything. Mm-hmm. So they wear like these weird caveman masks, but their music is actually pretty good. But they're named Fart Barf, which, to be fair to them, is incredibly memorable. I will never forget that band's name for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's true.
I will be 80 years old, riddled with Alzheimer's, on my deathbed. To the great dismay and confusion of my wife and daughter, my last words will be Fart Barf.
I hope that you actually do that. That would be real commitment to the bit if you can actually do that.
I will. You know what? If nothing else, on my deathbed, rather than consoling and connecting with my loved ones, yes. I want to do a bit.
Of course you do. Of course you do. And don't make it sound like that's a joke, because that's absolutely what you would want to do.
And the funny thing is they won't get it because they don't listen to the podcast.
Correct. Yes, that's right. A joke that they're not in on.
You know, speaking of bands we've never heard of, let me ask you this, Jesse, as a musician, if I were to say the word Jawbreaker to you, what do you think of?
Let's see, Jawbreaker. There was a movie in the 90s, mm-hmm. I think.
Yeah.
Jawbreaker.
Yeah.
It's the candy that I destroyed my starter set of teeth on.
There you go.
Back in the 80s and 90s. And I'm guessing it's also a band.
You're guessing that from like context clues because you're clever.
Well, I also mentioned it in the intro.
He wasn't.
He probably he wasn't.
So I guess that's the thing for me, because that is where we are starting today. Mm-hmm. Is we are starting with the lead singer of Jawbreaker, Blake Schwarzenbach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I had never heard of before, but again, I don't tend to have particularly mainstream or well-informed musical tastes. So I was just wondering if you as a musician had heard of them, and it sounds like the answer is no. So I feel somewhat vindicated in my ignorance.
Yeah, I have not heard of them, but I'm kind of stuck in like a very small genre of music, like early 2000s pop punk, and that's all I really listen to. So
that's interesting, because I feel like Jawbreaker could potentially overlap with that, because they are what genre did he say that they were?
Emo.
No, he didn't. He said that they were related to. Oh, I guess he did say that they were like the beginning of the emo movement, but he talked about them being punk also.
Yeah, they defined like emo as like a subgenre of punk.
Yeah,
But yeah, they died out in the mid 90s. I mean, they're no fart barf. I'll tell you that.
No, definitely not. You won't be talking about them on your deathbed, will you, Jethro?
Not at all.
Well, so I guess this is as good a time as any since we're talking about where we're starting. Jesse, why don't you tell us a little bit about where we're going to be ending this week?
We're going to be ending in a place. And this is actually a physical location. And I know you guys have a thing about clicking on like location-based links. So good luck. Quite the conundrum. You're going to be ending at Emerald View Park.
Emerald View Park. I've never heard of this. What can you tell us about Emerald View Park?
Sure. So I grew up in the inner city of Pittsburgh, right on the edge of the neighborhoods Mount Washington and Allentown. And, grew up with not a whole lot of parental supervision, just kind of roaming free in the city. And one thing that it was pretty typical, like inner city child in the early 90s lifestyle. But the thing that was, I think, pretty atypical was we had this massive park. We just called it Grandview Park because it was right behind our elementary school, Grandview Elementary. But we could, it's something like 260 continuous acres,
Really?
right in like inner city Pittsburgh. It's a huge space.
Huh.
So growing up, I got to like play in the woods and, walk in trails and there, I think there's a bit of Pittsburgh history there. If you guys know about the Indian trails that go from the top of Mount Washington down to the river.
Mm-hmm.
And those are left over from actual, local Native Americans. And eventually they were, those trails were, steps were put in. But while they were clearing the hillsides, they found all of these Indian caves, these like outcroppings that they figure was some sort of like hunting and shelter area. So those Indian caves were in the Grandview Park that I played in. So, and it wasn't like a cave. It's just like this outcropping. It looks like it was like closed off is how we always thought. But so there's these trails and outcroppings. We called them, the Indian caves. And we got to like hang out in these woods. And it was just like something that I don't think a lot of other kids in the city got to do. And it gave me like this kind of unique perspective of being like woodsy while also being, a city slicker. I
mean, you're basically Tom Sawyer at this point.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. We spent a lot of time in those woods.
There you go.
That's amazing. Yeah, I have heard I've heard the term Grandview Park. I guess maybe I've just heard it called the wrong thing also, or maybe it's a different place that I'm thinking of. I'm not sure. But
it's Emerald cool. View Park, right?
Yep. Park, so it's called Emerald View Park now. So back in 1998, there was a tornado that came through. It was this really weird thing. It came through Mount Washington.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it affected other parts of the city as well. But it like went down my street. And like it was pretty devastating to Grandview Park. Like lots of trees got knocked down, and there was like all this danger, all this talk of people, instead of allowing the trees to grow back or planting new trees, they're like, you know what, it's already demolished. Why don't we just put in a housing development? And we were going to lose all that green space. But then this community activist group called Green is Good was like, how about we just make it into an actual contiguous park, and it could be one of the city's regional parks. So they pitched this idea, and eventually the Mount Washington Community Development Corporation were like, okay, let's do it. We'll fund it. And they actually put together this park. And at first it was named the Grandview Scenic Byway Park. And they shortened it at some point to Emerald View Park.
Huh. Is there a reason that Emerald is in there? Like, is that connected to something in particular, or is it just sounded like a pretty name?
I don't have any inclination.
Oh, okay.
I would guess that because it's green in the middle of a city.
Sure.
the greenness of it is.
I'd buy that.
That works for me.
Or perhaps there was a huge Wizard of Oz, connection.
A big contingent of the people that were naming it were just huge Wizard of Oz fans. Well, that's cool. So this is great. I almost wish that we had Rick back on, Jethro, to I'm sure that he has some information about this park as well that he would be able to add.
Let me tell you, Matt. Emerald View Park was discovered in sorry, Rick. Sorry, thank you.
That was all right.
I mean,
lost another patron. Thanks a lot.
Oh God, no, Rick, come back. No, I mean, I'm sure he would have some kind of connection to it, or could dig one up, given that he is a talented researcher and documentarian.
I bet.
He could probably do a pretty good job correcting some of my history there too.
That's.
I mean, it's certainly possible. He knows things that others just they're lost to the written record, but the oral tradition is alive and well, and he will pass on that information to us someday. I believe.
Indeed.
So this is great. This is a great topic here. I love this. I love Pittsburgh based, and you're right. It's going to be difficult to get to because it's a place, but we're going to find a way, right, Jethro? We're gonna.
Oh yeah, we're going to find a way. All right,
we can do it. From Blake Schwarzenbach.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that Jawbreaker released an album of songs that were exclusively about Allegheny County parks.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right.
Like
City of Pittsburgh parks, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
They were they really focused in on it. Well, Jesse, before we let you go, we always ask our guests, not always, but sometimes we ask our guests if they are drinking anything, because we sometimes have a little drink as we walk here. So are you imbibing this evening?
I certainly am. I am drinking, and you actually had some of this just the other day on Halloween. This is Uncle Nearest 1856.
Yes, and it is excellent.
It is fantastic.
Now that's just the brand name. It's not actually 170 years old. Okay.
It's also not made of Uncle Nearest.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
It's just a name. Although, I mean, do you want to just quickly tell the Uncle Nearest story for those that aren't aware of it?
Oh man, I don't think I've got it quite fresh. If you'd. Well,
I'll just give the Cliff's Notes version, and that is that I don't remember the gentleman's actual name, but he was known as Uncle Nearest, and he is the person who essentially taught Jack Daniels how to make the whiskey that he was making. And so Jack Daniels went on to become very, very famous. Uncle Nearest sort of disappeared into obscurity, and then 2 or 3 years ago, one of his descendants started making this again and using the original recipe and everything along those lines in the same process that he was using, and started bottling it and started selling it again. And so it's a fantastic story of a Black-owned business that is paying homage to the person who actually sort of started the whole thing that was Jack Daniels. But it's way better than Jack Daniels. Like I like Jack Daniels, don't get me wrong, but like it is a higher quality whiskey for sure. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
And the gentleman's name is Nathan Nearest Green.
There you go.
That's Uncle Nearest's real name. Nathan Nearest Green.
Emerald View Park, Green. Yeah, we got connections.
Wow, look at that.
Connections. I love it. Jethro, how about you, buddy? You having a drink tonight?
I am. I'm having a White Claw blackberry.
I'm sorry. Is everything okay
Sorry.
with everybody?
Yeah. Well, no, I know it's somewhat bougie, but it's where I'm at, and I'm dealing with it, and I'm having it, and we're just going to make the best of it.
It's all right. We're no sudden moves. Everything's fine.
Yeah,
we'll be okay. Everything's
good. What
good.
about you, Matt? You having a bourbon? I'm guessing.
I am drinking a bourbon. In fact, I'm drinking one of those bourbons that I consider to be very overrated. It is a good bourbon. Do not get me wrong, but the amount of excitement that is created by it is, I don't think, warranted.
Is it the David S. Pumpkins bourbon?
It is not the David S. Pumpkins. No, that'd be an awesome bourbon. No, this is Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
Which is incredibly popular. It sells out immediately as soon as it gets in. I happen to be in the state store, like right when they got a shipment in. The guy, I was buying other bourbons. He goes, "We've got Buffalo Trace if you want some," and it's It's inexpensive enough that I was like, I haven't had it in a while. It's is fine. Good and it's inexpensive, so I will take it. But I think that it gets a lot more street cred and a lot more, this is amazing than it should. Personally, just my thing. I don't know about anyone else.
Street cred. So you got a lot of kids on the street talking about Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, it's just an expression, Jethro. It's not real. It doesn't really mean street. It's not people talking about it on the street.
So you're lying, is what you're saying.
I'm not. It's an expression.
Agree to disagree.
Jesse, it has been a blast having you on here. I am so sorry for Jethro. I have to apologize for him most times. So
I'm sorry for me too.
But
it's been great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. This is a great destination, and hopefully we make it there. But you'll have to wait to find out because this won't be released for a couple of weeks. But
all right,
you can find out then, buddy.
I have faith in Yins.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, see you, friends.
Bye. All
right, Matt, we've got some guessing to do here.
We sure do. We have to make a prediction about how many links it's going to take. And I remember last week we had a little conversation about this as I expressed my frustration on constantly losing. And it was about how I'm always overestimating. I'm always picking a number that's too high.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to use that note and see what I can do about it. Because
Okie dokie, artichoke.
Because this seems like it's going to be a difficult walk to me.
That's an interesting observation.
Okay. So I'm thinking about the number that I would pick. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. All right. Here we go.
And then you gotta bend it down. All right. I also have written down a number, and I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised when you see what I wrote.
I'm sure you will be. Because
I will not be surprised because it's on a piece of paper directly in front of me.
But you'll be pleasantly surprised that you won't even be surprised. It'll just be the right number. Let's get into this. Did you already look at this page? It's not long. Had you already memorized it?
I have not memorized it. I'm here. Okay. I'm looking at it. There's a lot of places listed: Berkeley, California; Portland, Oregon; Boulder, Colorado; Venice, Los Angeles. Whole bunch of that kind of stuff.
There is a lot of that. And there are names of some genres of music: punk rock, pop punk, emo, post-hardcore, hardcore punk. Unfortunately, I don't think of Pittsburgh as a kind of birthplace of any of those particular things.
Yeah, I'd be hard-pressed to name a musician from Pittsburgh other than Billy from Billy Strayhorn to Donnie Iris is the big
Clarks. Gap. I could give you the Clarks. Jethro, I think though, I've just paged down a little bit. I think I might have a path for us.
Oh, do you now? What might it be?
There is a link to the L word.
The L word.
The L word. Oh no, it's a different one. Oh. I thought the L word was the one that was set in Pittsburgh, but it's not.
Are you talking about the Showtime queer series that focuses on lesbian life? The L word?
I thought that was set in Pittsburgh, but it's not.
Maybe not. Now
No, it's definitely not. I just moused over it and it said the series follows the lives of a group of lesbian and bisexual women who live in West Hollywood, California. There is one though that was set in Pittsburgh, and I can't remember what it is.
Like a queer themed TV show.
Yeah, maybe it was Gay as Folk, or I don't remember which
one
it was.
Queer as Folk.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Sure. I would not have guessed that. Anyway, well, let me throw something out there for you.
Do it.
We are trying to get to a park, and under non-musical activities, politics, there is a link to Washington Square Park, which is a park.
Interesting.
That might get us into parks.
Do you think you think that that's the path is through parks, not through something like history or like George Washington to Mount Washington type of a thing? You don't want to go that
we could theoretically go that way, but parks are right there. Like it's certainly not sexy or exciting. We can go to 2004 U.S. presidential election, and that gets us into presidents if you want to go to Washington. But you know what else could get us to Washington? Washington Square Park.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Because I'm pretty sure it was named after that Washington.
I don't know. It might be a different one. I guess what I'm just not sure of is if we get into parks, is there going to be a connection between all parks? Right. That's the concern that I have. I'm not saying that I have a better path for you right now, other than maybe. Nope. Yeah. Nope. There's show. There's which goes to concert, flyer, which goes to a form of paper advertisement, and dorm. These things are all linked on here and not helpful.
It feels like you were just grasping at straws so you don't have to agree with
it's just so
awesome
interesting
thought.
to me that they're linked, that those are the things that are linked. Like they just seem like words that would just be on the page that wouldn't be linked.
I mean, Washington Square Park gets us to parks and it gets us to George Washington, after whom the mount is named.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you.
Like this could be an absurdly quick linkage.
All right. You know what? Let's give it a try.
Right.
It is a geographic location. I do want to point out though. So you are taking us to a geographic location immediately.
It is something that exists. So let me clarify, because there is a long-standing shared perspective on the podcast,
of course,
that going the geographic route is a less interesting. It's not cheating per se, but it is a less interesting path that we're taking the listener down. So I want to clarify right here, right now, what I mean when I say geographic.
Oh no,
I will.
Okay.
I will say that if it's the name of a country or a city or a county, I feel like that falls squarely in the geographic camp. If we were to click on a location that has some function economically or culturally, obviously those things exist somewhere on planet Earth. So like, for example, Walt Disney World, I would not consider that a geographic link.
I see.
And I feel like Washington Square Park falls, and I fully recognize it is an arbitrary and fuzzy boundary, but I feel like Washington Square Park falls on the acceptable side of that divide from my perspective.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you are able to rationalize anything to yourself. That's how you.
Oh yeah, I totally.
So congratulations, and we've done it. I mean, we're here. We've decided to do it. So let's just do it. Let's just see what we've got here. I do see that public parks is linked as one of the top things at the top here. The top things at the top. That doesn't make sense, but it's true.
So George Washington is also linked. And there will almost certainly, if not on George Washington's page, because I'm pretty sure George Washington's got a pretty big page, there would be a link to things named after George Washington, of which there are many. Yeah. And presumably Mount Washington is one of them. Although now that I'm saying that out loud, like, I don't know, am I just assuming that?
Well, you know what is also linked on here is Bessemer process.
Aha! Steel mills.
Yes, yes. The Bessemer process is used for mass producing steel. And also, Giuseppe Garibaldi is linked on here.
Famed Pittsburgher, but Giuseppe Garibaldi.
I love that it's on here. Okay, so I like Washington. I like Bessemer. I moused over public parks. Turns out it's just New York public parks.
Aha!
That's not gonna help. I see a thing on here that says there's a thing in this park called Hangman's Elm.
Oh boy, that's probably got a bad history.
A legend in many tourist guides says the largest elm in the northwest corner of the park, Hangman's Elm, was the old hanging tree. However, research indicates the tree was on the side of the former Minetta Creek that was the back garden of a private house. So it's not true.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know. Thank you for bringing up your love of hanging on the podcast.
I have no love for hanging. I just thought it was an interesting thing that they actually named. I thought that was an interesting thing. You like things?
All right, Matt Hartman interested in hanging.
Interested in things that are interesting. That's all. That's it.
There we go.
This is the park, by the way, folks, that has the arch in it. There's a Washington Square arch.
The Arc de Triomphe.
It looks like, the Arc de Triomphe. So if you've ever seen that, if you've ever been to New York and you didn't know that you were in Washington Square Park, you were.
It's when at the beginning of When Harry Met Sally. It's when when Sally drops off Harry in New York as they first arrive. That's where he gets out.
Wow, you know a lot.
I mean, that's a iconic film.
Sure.
If you are not familiar with the filmography of Nora Ephron, get in on that. Like, she wrote that. Carl Reiner directed it. Sorry, Rob Reiner directed it. It's a classic rom-com. It is absolutely one of the movies that you should be familiar with.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just don't know it. I don't know it shot for shot like you do. But it sounds good. Sounds
pretty
like you got it.
Pretty boss.
I got it. I am noticing here under the See Also, I want to point out there's a link to something that's called 10-minute walk. Do you know what that is, Jethro?
I do not know what 10-minute walk is.
This also known as 10-minute walk to a park refers to a parks advocacy movement led by the Trust for Public Land to ensure that everyone in the United States lives within a 10-minute walk to a high quality park or green space. What do you think about that?
I love the idea of living within 10-minute walk of a public green space. I do, and I think it is highly desirable. I think nature is as close as I get to religion, and I think that human beings benefit greatly from exposure to nature on a regular basis. I do want to point out, directly above the See Also section that you're talking about, there is an on television and film section, which talks about where Washington Square Park has appeared in many popular films, including many, many, many things, none of which is When Harry Met Sally.
That's right.
It's very frustrating.
So are you sure that that's right?
I am certain that when Harry Met Sally, he drops her off. There is an arc there.
She drops him off.
She drops him off. Yes, that there is an arc there.
Okay.
I don't know how many arcs there are in New York.
Are they in France maybe instead?
No, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Okay. Just sure.
Because they only drove to New York. They did not drive to Paris.
Okay. I don't know things. No, I was saying, what about 10-minute walk as our way out of here?
To what end?
Well, this is a park that was created in the city of Pittsburgh, and probably for a very similar reason to this 10-minute walk idea. I'm just saying it may very well, it could be on that page. Park Conservancy is also linked right underneath it, which is a type of private nonprofit organization in the United States that can support the maintenance, capital development, and advocacy for parks or park systems, which again sounds like some of those organizations that wanted this thing to be connected might be part of that.
It could be. Counterpoint.
Yeah, it could
George
be.
Washington.
Yeah, I'm not going through George Washington. I've given you a lot of other options, and no chance.
Why not?
Because I think that
you're unilaterally deciding we can't go through George Washington.
I'm not saying we can't. Of course we can. I don't want to. I think it's a boring route, and I think that going through George Washington instead of any of these other options is just, first of all, we don't know for sure that Mount Washington is going to be discussed on that page, as you said. And secondly, I just think there's much more interesting things to go through here. Why wouldn't we go through all these more interesting things?
Officially, Matt Hartman is not interested in George Washington, the father of our country.
Yeah, as a link out of here, correct. Yeah.
Wow.
He also probably wasn't quite as great as everybody says he is, you know?
Okay.
We've sort of learned that about everybody.
If the father of our country is not great by your standards, then who is, for heaven's sakes?
I'm not saying he's not great. I'm just saying not as great. He's the Buffalo Trace of the
I was waiting
fathers.
For you to make that.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I would say that he's at least the Woodford Reserve. Wow. I'm astounded. I would have thought that George Washington was the no-brainer, obvious selection of path out of here.
I think it's a boring path based on
boring.
Look at these other options that we have. Yes, it's too. I don't know.
You wrote down a high number and you're trying to justify it. Whereas you fully recognize that we could get there quickly through George Washington.
I don't think that we can necessarily get there quickly through George Washington. I think these park things may be quicker.
What are they going to have a list of all the parks in America? There's tens of thousands.
That's fair, but I mean, it's gonna discuss parks in general. I mean, you wanted to come here because it was a park.
Yeah, Washington Square Park.
That wasn't your original thought on that, though.
Rewind the tape. I explicitly said that Washington was going to be linked here, and that provided us more opportunities. The challenge with going to parks,
and also, by the way, so just go ahead.
Okay,
go
fine.
Ahead. What's the challenge? What's the challenge of going through parks?
The challenge of
the same thing I brought up earlier.
Oh my God, you're exhausting. You really are the Jethro of this episode. Is this what it's like to be you?
Yeah, kind of.
I think the problem with parks is that parks there are so many of them, and it's such a broad concept that getting to a particular park through the broad concept of parks is absolutely a fool's errand.
Right. Versus the pinpoint shot of all the things in the United States that are named after George Washington.
Okay, let me ask you a question and see if you can subtly pick up on the judgment that I'm loading into the way that I asked.
Sure, go ahead.
What do you think there's more of in America? Things named after George Washington or parks?
I don't know. That might be a toss-up.
Don't know. You fucking had a tremendous pregnant pause because you know exactly the answer. You know there are way more parks than things named after George Washington.
I think it might be a toss-up. I don't know. These days, the green space is going, and every quarter has George Washington on it. So,
oh my God,
just saying,
you are sandbagging. You are trying to get us to your ridiculously high guess by going after the fool's errand of parks rather than the comparably by orders of magnitude smaller path of George Washington.
I am not. And by the way, I'm not trying to go through parks, to be clear. I'm trying to go through a very specific thing, which is this goal of getting everybody within a 10-minute walk of a green space, which seems to be the reason this thing exists. All right? So I think that is more specific than just saying park. Look, if parks was linked on here, I wouldn't say we should go to it. I would go to George Washington before that.
Yeah,
you really think that George Washington is the way to go? You really believe it?
100%. Should we flip a coin?
No. I'll go to George Washington. I'll take your boring ass route out of here.
All right. George Washington, the father of our country.
Mm-hmm. And what are we following out of here, by the way? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. Well, I just clicked on the page. What are we falling out of 10-minute walk?
Potentially the actual name of that park.
You're out of your fucking mind.
All right.
If you think that Emerald View Park.
I'll tell you what, Emerald View Park is definitely not on this page. And there is even if there is a 0.01% chance that it's on the other page, that's higher than here.
You are astounding.
Okay.
You are
still the truth.
I'm at the end of the episode, I want to go back to the 10-minute walk page.
Great.
So that we can see the wisdom in coming to. First of all, the George Washington page on Wikipedia is tremendous.
Of course it is.
There are everything so in the country is named after him. So very many possibilities for us to click on.
All right. How about Forbes's expedition?
There is a undersea also. There is a list of George Washington articles. Yeah. That's how big of a deal George Washington is, that it doesn't even it is a list of Wikipedia articles about George Washington.
I know what a big deal he is. That was kind of one of my points.
I don't think you had any points.
No, you don't think so?
I thought there were 0 points.
Expanding. So if we could find stuff about Braddock's Road or I like this Forbes expedition, honestly, or the Battle of Monongahela.
So I see under French and Indian War, there is a link to Fort Duquesne, which would obviously get us into Pittsburgh and such.
Yep.
Although I acknowledge it is uncomfortably in the neighborhood of geography for some of us. Although I don't see how we avoid geography completely.
Well, we can't completely because the final destination is a geographic location. So
yes,
we obviously have to go. And you already went to one anyway by going to that park. So really, we've ripped off the Band-Aid. Why don't we just go to Pittsburgh when it's late down here?
There's so much anger here. There's so much rage and anger.
It's bubbling under the surface.
I don't think so. I think it's boiling.
It's bubbling. No, it's just the bubbling you're hearing.
You
don't like Forbes expedition. You don't like Battle of Monongahela. Neither of those.
Where are these? I'm not seeing them.
They were under. I've already passed them up. They were under. What is this section? French Indian War.
French Indian War.
If you go down, the second to last paragraph says Forbes expedition, and the picture, the painting, Washington the soldier during the Battle of Monongahela is linked.
Okay.
So either of those, I think, could be good ones because they're going to take us into that general region. potentially. I mean, we could potentially find. I know that there's a. Is it a statue or a picture of Washington speaking to one of the Native Americans, like at the top of Mount Washington, that gets us into those trails and things like that potentially?
Certainly possible. Yeah, I like those. I think those are certainly possible. There is also
he was here. I mean, Washington was here during the French Indian War, right? That's when he was
that's the whole deal.
Parts.
All right, so do you like Forbes Expedition or Battle of the Monongahela?
What you asking which one I like better?
Yes.
See, I'm not sure because I'm not 100% familiar with either of them, so I don't know enough to say that this one's better than that one.
Yeah.
So I'm looking right now just to see what else is on this page because I mean, definitely like there may be other mentions of Mount Washington itself, maybe linked on this page. And if it's not, or if it is, there might be things around it that we could go to that wouldn't even be going straight to Mount Washington that might be, somehow related to it or something like that. I don't think so, just because I'm down into like Constitutional Convention of 1787. So I'm going to have to get out of the description of him areas and more the descriptions of like things that are named after him.
There is a section for places, namesakes, and monuments, which has a link to list of memorials to George Washington and lists of statues of George Washington, 2 separate articles. It's very brief, though. It does not include Mount Washington. It includes D.C., the state of Washington, the Washington Monument, and Mount Rushmore.
What is linked? It is linked on here, and there's a section for is the Whiskey Rebellion.
Nice. I mean, that's on brand for us.
Which took place here.
Did it?
Right? So, yeah. So, in March of 1791, at Hamilton's urging, with support from Madison, Congress imposed an excise tax on distilled spirits to help curtail the national debt, which took effect in July. Grain farmers strongly protested in Pennsylvania's frontier districts. They argued that they were unrepresented and were shouldering too much of the debt, comparing their situation to the British taxation pre-revolution. So this all took place in Western Pennsylvania. In fact, there's a link to Western Pennsylvania here, which we could go to. But Whiskey Rebellion gets us right into the Pittsburgh area, because this is where it took place. The right around these parts. So that's a possibility as well. I don't know if we want to go right to Western Pennsylvania. That feels a little too geographical to me. That feels a little too...
I mean, Fort Duquesne I feel like is somewhat defensible, but if you want to go like Forbes Expedition, I mean, it feels like we're dickering around the inevitability of having to pull the geographic trigger at some point. So
again, you already have gone to a geographic location. I don't know why you are making it sound like we're gonna be doing it for the first time in the episode here.
Oh, good heavens!
It's already happened. It's okay.
Did you not hear my lengthy diatribe about how Washington Square Park does not qualify as geographic? Well,
it still qualifies as geographic. You acknowledge it's a geographic location. You just say that it doesn't fit the mold of the geographic locations that are the ones that we're trying to avoid. And I agree with you. The question is, which of these also doesn't fit that mold?
So
right?
Here's the definition I would like to propose.
Do it.
For canon law.
Oh.
I would like to propose that there is a certain amount of square footage of how much of planet Earth does this square footage cover, that below that threshold we should not consider it a geographic location for our so obviously if something is like millions of square miles, like a country or something, like okay, that covers such a huge swath of Earth that it counts as geographic. But if we're talking about a particular building that sits on planet Earth, like even Blake Schwarzenbach, he's somewhere on the goddamn surface of the Earth.
That's different. Obviously.
I mean, just because he's different. Mobile, yeah.
Okay, he's not a okay. All right. I do want to point out that Mount Washington is not on this page, which I did mention, and you were very insistent that was one of the reasons we should go here. I also want to point out that a lot of other things that are named for Washington are on this page, including the quarter that I brought up.
The quarter?
Yeah, remember nice. I said he was on all the quarters. So I just want to bring that up. I want to make it clear that I was kind of right about some of this. Now, whether or not I was right about the way we should have gone,
congratulations,
that is still up
Matt.
for debate. But
you were right. All right. So here's what I'm going to propose.
Did you guys all hear that? Wait, let's play that back a couple of times.
You were right, Matt. You were right, Matt. You were right, Matt. Kill your children. You were right, Matt.
I really have to stop using a tape recorder to record these.
I mean, why you have that big reel-to-reel behind
it's the only thing I could think of to use. I wasn't sure what else to. All right. I think either of these could probably work. I
propose Fort Duquesne. What do you propose?
Oh, I thought we were choosing between the Forbes expedition and the Battle of Monongahela.
I got tired of you dicking around, so
I think it's one of those two that we have to go to.
All right, then what do you propose? What do you propose?
Oh, or Edward Braddock is on here too.
Oh my God.
Oh, the Braddock expedition. That might be the one. I can't remember which one. Damn it. See, this is where I should know this. Is it the Forbes expedition or is it the Braddock expedition that we want? Let's do the Forbes. Let's do the Forbes expedition.
I love it.
What do you think? You like it?
I surrender to your incredible wisdom.
All right, Forbes expedition. Let's do it. Oh my God, it's the shortest page we've ever been to.
It's not that short. Forbes Road, John Forbes, Fort Duquesne, Braddock Exposition, Monongahela River, Pittsburgh, Allegheny River.
Yeah, similarly to the unsuccessful Braddock expedition. So you see, that's the other one I want to potentially go through.
There you go. And there's also a link to the disastrous Battle of the Monongahela.
Yeah, there is, which was one of the reasons I thought that we could go this way, because I thought that there would be a link. The Battle of Fort Duquesne is also on here.
Mm-hmm.
The Treaty of Easton caused the remnants of the is it Lenape or Lenape? I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Mingo and Shawnee tribes in the Ohio Valley to abandon the French.
I don't know.
So there's a possibility of stuff there. Erie people, Shawnee. Yeah, I'm not sure who would have been building those quote unquote caves that he was discussing. So Major James Grant, who I believe Grant Street is named after, is on here.
I mean, there's nothing but street names here.
Yeah, Forbes Road. I see
Sergeant Six,
the Allegheny. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, unfortunately, this does not have. I was hoping this was going to have kind of a Mount Washington angle to it, and it does not. Allegheny River and Monongahela River are both on here. Pittsburgh is on here. I mean, we could just go to Pittsburgh, I suppose.
I feel like I would rather go to Fort Duquesne than Pittsburgh.
Fort Duquesne?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to get us to that same situation. But okay, we can try that out.
It perhaps could.
Fort Duquesne?
I feel like we owe it to our listener to resist as long as possible.
And at the very least, it's going to get us into like Point State Park, right? Which is another park in Pittsburgh.
There you go.
All right, Fort Duquesne or Fort Duquesne, as those who don't know how it's pronounced might say it, because that's how it's spelled. And there it is. Point State Park is right there on the page. So that gets us into the area of parks in the Pittsburgh area, or in like city parks. That may be the way to go.
I am not seeing anything that beats that. Although apparently Fort Duquesne appears in the video game Assassin's Creed 3.
Didn't you play that game? Is that
I did.
Games you played?
It was one of my least favorite of the Assassin's Creed series.
Oh. Because of that? Gosh, that's cruel.
No. And apparently it looks nothing like the real life counterpart in the video game.
Oh, of course. Well, that doesn't surprise me a bit. There's the expedition. There's Braddock's expedition again, and James Grant, and the Battle of Monongahela, and John Forbes, all linked on here again. Have you ever been? You've been down to Point State Park, Jethro?
I've been down to Point State Park, and I've been to the Fort Duquesne Museum that's down there.
That is the Fort Pitt Museum, actually.
Sorry, the Fort Pitt Museum. Forgive me.
Blockhouse.
But wasn't Fort Pitt built on on the grounds where Fort Duquesne was built?
The same area, yeah. But if you've been down there, you've seen that like Fort Duquesne was much smaller, has a much smaller footprint than Fort Pitt did. And
I've also been to Fort Necessity. So if you drive to Baltimore or whatever, you drive by Fort Necessity, and it's just it's a sad little.
Well, let me ask you this: did you ever go down to Point State Park back when they actually had it was like dug into the ground? Like you could actually walk downstairs and sort of walk around the edge of where the fort used to be, or Fort Pitt used to be.
No, that's before my time.
So that was the way it was back in like at least in the 90s and before that as well. And the reason that I know this so well is because Jethro, that's where I had my very first kiss.
Aww.
It was on the stairs that led down into that. We had just done a March of Dimes walk or something. It ended at Point State Park, and we went and we were sitting on those little stairs, and that's where Matt Hartman had his very first kiss.
And who was that with?
Oh, I'm not gonna name names. I mean, what people would, I can't. What if people don't want to vote for her next time? You know what I mean?
So you kissed Hillary Clinton?
Whatever. I'm not going to say which Hillary it was.
All right. Well, I mean, it's crazy. She seems way older than you, and that's if it was your first kiss, she would have been like what, 40?
That's why I didn't want to talk. It's creepy,
no matter how you.
Yeah, it's not good. It doesn't work out. All right.
Where's my first kiss? Bernie Sanders.
Is that right? Congratulations on that. That's a progressive move on your part. I feel
it really is. He was like, Jethro Nolan, I want to kiss you. Also, I want to raise taxes on the wealthiest 1%.
Are you sure it was him, or was it Larry David that you were kissing?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. There's a lot of overlap in that Venn diagram.
Yeah, there sure is. All right. Where are we going, Jethro? How are we getting out of here?
I feel like Point State Park is the best.
I think you're right.
What was your idea? I'm agreeing with your wisdom.
No, I think that's right. I mean, if we're not going to go to Pittsburgh, I think Point State Park is where we're going to go, and I think that makes some sense.
I feel like the Point State Park square footage is smaller and more justifiable.
Nope, I'm with you. I'm with you. Point State Park it is. Let's do it.
All right. It is a Pennsylvania state park located on 36 acres. Blah, 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 blah. Acquired via eminent domain. Oh, I'm sure that was a pleasant process that everybody supported equally.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Have you ever seen the old pictures of like the stuff that used to be down there? There used to be like fairgrounds and all sorts of crazy. There was like an ice arena down there. Like the first professional hockey game in the United States was played in Pittsburgh at that ice arena.
I do not have
the Pittsburgh Gardens, I think, or something like that. I don't remember the name of it for sure, but all right. So there's a history section. Is there a links to other parks in the area?
I'm not seeing it.
Of course not. Why would there be? There's the Allegheny Conference on Community Development.
Mm-hmm.
So that may be issues for 10 county region in southwestern Pennsylvania. Maybe not. I thought that might have been one of the places or one of the groups that he was talking about. But oh gosh, yeah. Boy, there really isn't. There are nearby state parks here. Oh, it's a state park. That's the problem. It's a state park.
Rather than a city park. I mean, it's right there in the name. Point State Park.
Yeah, no, I know. I should have thought about it, but I really didn't at all. Yep. And it says it right there at the beginning, a Pennsylvania state park. We may have to go out through downtown Pittsburgh.
Oh my God. Really?
I mean,
we're so screwed.
Unless you see a better way out of here. I just don't. I mean, we could go to Fort Pitt and hope.
So, all right. So Emerald View Park is a city park, or is it a county park?
Oh, I think. Oh, well, it sounded like it was a city park, but I guess I don't know.
All right. So, downtown Pittsburgh.
Well, I mean, I hate to do it. What about the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources? Feels.
I mean, maybe. I just don't know.
I mean, I don't know that the downtown Pittsburgh is going to help us, because that may not have anything about parks, and I don't even know is where he was talking about considered downtown Pittsburgh.
It's not, but it's visible from downtown Pittsburgh.
Well, right. So, how about chicken pox? Do you think people have chicken pox that go there? Or?
I feel like that's a bit of a stretch.
Probably, yeah. They tried to get away from chicken pox by going to Emerald View Park. Gosh, this really backfired.
Didn't it though?
It really did. Falling Water is linked on here.
Good for them.
Gateway Center is linked on here as well. That's office and residential buildings in downtown Pittsburgh. West End Bridge, Heinz Field, Carnegie Science Center, Del Monte Foods. Good Lord.
Yeah, I feel like downtown Pittsburgh is probably our way to go, because if this is a city-run park, then that's the only way to get there. Anything that says like Pennsylvania State, or like the Pennsylvania Bureau of State Parks is listed here, but that's Pennsylvania, not.
Well, listen, if we're going to go to downtown Pittsburgh, should we just go to Pittsburgh? Because Pittsburgh itself is just linked on here too. I feel like maybe Pittsburgh is better than downtown Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh's going to be a larger page, and it may actually have links out to like parks that are city parks.
I mean, it is certainly possible. I feel like
if we're going to go as far as downtown Pittsburgh, I say we just go to Pittsburgh. That's my vote.
That's your vote?
Yep.
I don't know. It makes me feel dirty, Matt.
I understand, but downtown Pittsburgh feels just as dirty to me. So why not go to the thing that can actually get us there? We owe it to the listener to get there as quickly as we can, right? So I think Pittsburgh.
I know, but we also owe it to the listener to avoid the geographic.
They're both downtown Pittsburgh is just as geographical as Pittsburgh.
But again, if we go back to the square footage rule,
yeah, they're both out of bounds. That's what I'm getting.
But one is worse than the other. All right. So where is the link for Pittsburgh?
It is on the right-hand side, location Pittsburgh, Allegheny, Pennsylvania, United States, under the map of Pennsylvania.
All right. Let's click on Pittsburgh.
Let's do it.
Listener, I'm so sorry. We're
all sorry. We're all very sorry.
A geographic route, and here we are, soiling ourselves.
It's gross. There's no doubt about it. I don't know that it's going to be on this page either, though.
Oh, no, not at all.
PNC Park. Is that a park?
No, that's not a park. This is a baseball field.
Oh, no. Oh, we've really done it this time.
Haven't we, though?
Man, I told you I thought this was going to be a long one. Didn't I? Didn't I say that?
You did. The
Whiskey Rebellion. There you go. Right there. Great Lakes, Appalachian
There
Mountains.
are links to like list of Pittsburgh neighborhoods. I don't know if that gets us anything.
How will that help us?
I don't know.
Do you know what neighborhood it's in?
No.
Nope. Okay. I see an aerial view of Pittsburgh from in 1902. It's a little like artist rendition, and I have a poster of that in my living room right now.
Mm-hmm.
The exact same image. It's a very, very cool image of Pittsburgh. We saw it. It was up in the incline station up at the top of Mount Washington, and my wife saw it and really liked it, and I was able to get a poster version of it for her a number of years ago, actually. So Mount Washington is linked on here.
Okay, I think that's promising.
So that may be the way to go.
Where is it? Where are you seeing this link?
I see it there's a photo under geography, and it may be actually in the geography section as well, but there's a photo under geography, and it says downtown Pittsburgh and the Duquesne Incline from Mount Washington, and Mount Washington is linked.
Okay.
I see Pittsburgh Cultural Trust on here. You're familiar with them, aren't you?
Oh yeah, they were Arcade's landlords, and probably still are.
Yeah, I believe that's true. Penn Brewery, Randyland, Museum of Pittsburgh. What area of Pittsburgh am I talking about if I say these things? Children's Museum, Randyland, Penn Brewery.
North Side.
North Side, that's right. What if I say the office space, housing, healthcare facilities, indoor practice fields for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Pitt Panthers, and the headquarters for American Eagle Outfitters? What area am I talking about now?
That is going to be South Side.
That is the South Side. Now, I'm going to make this a little tougher for you. home of University of Pittsburgh, Carnegie Mellon, and Carlow universities.
Is that Shadyside?
Be less specific.
East side?
Yeah, the East End. The East End. Very good.
Okay.
And finally, the West End includes Mount Washington. Again, linked on here.
Okay.
We've got ethnicities and there's our neighborhoods again. Yeah, I mean, based on everything I'm seeing. Oh gosh, I'm not even close to the bottom of this page though. Yeah, Mount Washington is linked a lot on this page.
All right then.
It's such a huge page though. I'm sort of hoping that there's going to be. Have you found anything about parks at all?
I not yet.
Me neither. I mean,
would that be under
of
geography?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of just different. What am I looking at right now? Demographics. In demographics, there's a bunch of different locations talked about, but mostly they're places where people live, like Wexford and Warrendale and Fox Chapel and St. Clair. I see Bakery Square because there's economy stuff on here. Oh, do you think there's anything about that tornado?
What tornado?
The one that hit Mount Washington. The whole reason that this thing exists.
No,
I remember they were gonna put in a housing development, but then they said no. Let's just connect these things and make it into a green space, a giant green space. You don't remember any of this? Oh, Dance Moms is linked on here. Look, there's a show that was. Oof. Anti-Flag is on here. Punk rock. Many punk rock and hardcore punk acts, such as Os Rotten and Anti-Flag, originated in Pittsburgh. So there you go. We've learned something new.
Oh, we could probably get to Jawbreaker and Blake Schwarzenbach through there.
We probably could. Heavy metal music scene. They were a leading city. Pittsburgh was a leading city. Doom metal, metalcore, death metal. Look at this. We could have gone through music very easily. But we just didn't know enough to do that. Literature, food, so much. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood's linked on here. You know who I bet is linked on here?
Who?
Rick Sebak.
Oh, that's an interesting.
He's got to be in here, right? Pittsburgh Dad. There's Pittsburgh Dad. How's Rick not in this section? There's a section here all about the Children's Corner and Mr. Rogers and George Romero, Bill Cardell. Rick's not in that section. He's got to be here somewhere. Rick, you've got to be here somewhere, man. I cannot believe that you wouldn't be. There's some information about Hurricane Ivan.
Oh, okay. All right.
What do you got?
I have. So at the top of the page.
Oh, at the top of the page? Oh, good.
Third paragraph down. There is the last sentence of the third paragraph. However, this rich industrial history left the area with renowned museums, medical centers, parks, research centers, and a diverse cultural district. If you hover over parks, it links you to the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy, which is Pittsburgh Parks, not Pennsylvania Parks. Yes. So I feel like that is our best chance to get to the particular Emerald View Park.
I mean, I would say that is, I do want to get to the bottom of this page, which I'm pretty close to make sure that there's nothing better, but that I agree, I think is going to be our way out of here.
Okay.
Because right now I'm into like education, media, newspapers. There's television, PBS, WQED. What? They don't have Rick on here? This is stupid. This is dumb. We have to edit this page, Jethro.
All right.
Can we do that?
Let's get into it.
Can we edit the Wikipedia page? Let's just take some time now. Let's just do it right now.
I feel like that's not the podcast.
No, let's get into it. Let's do it. Public transportation, expressways and highways, airports, intercity rail and bus. Good Lord. There's so much on this page. And yet not... okay, I think I have reached it. I have reached the end and I see nothing better than what you have found. So, Pittsburgh Parks, and you said that this is...
This is the third paragraph in the article.
Yep, I got it. All right, Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy.
There we go.
Let's do it.
It was founded in December 1996 by a group of citizens concerned with the deteriorating conditions of Pittsburgh's historic parks. Parks Conservancy work closely with the city of Pittsburgh, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm not seeing here?
Oh, no.
A link to Emerald View Park.
Oh, are you kidding me with this? You know what I see in the sea also, Jethro?
What do you see in the sea also?
10-minute walk.
Look at that. Isn't that fun?
You son of a... And Park Conservancy, which is the other thing that was linked in the other sea also.
Isn't that fun? Neither of those is our destination.
Yeah, but they would have gotten us here much faster.
Oh my God. Would they? Just because they're linked from this page doesn't mean those page links to this.
All right. That sounds good. We're going to find out. You're
We're gonna full
find
of rage.
out. This is there's nowhere to go off of this page.
It is
You've taken us to a dead end.
It is a brief page. Well, you know what? You agreed to come here. It wasn't like I forced you.
Lord.
I'm all ears if you have a great idea.
There's no way out of here. Most of these are external links.
That is very frustrating.
We have a link to nonprofit organization Pittsburgh, which we were just at, so we can't go back to, Pittsburgh Magazine, Louisville, Kentucky, New York City, Buffalo, New York. We can get back to New York City. And that's it. Those are all of the links off of this page. Except for 10-minute walk and Park Conservancy.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you suggest at this point?
All right,
where we are an hour into this endeavor.
Matt, here's what I'm going to suggest.
Do it.
You're not going to like it.
Oh, I bet I won't.
But down at the references at the bottom, if you expand the City of Pittsburgh section, under government, there is a parks link. And this is a list of parks in Pittsburgh.
Jethro, this is off limits to us.
You know what? That's my suggestion. If you have something better, I'm all ears. If you just want to say no, then you are welcome to do that. But there are literally no links out of this goddamn page.
Well, we could go to 10-minute walk. I don't know how it's going to help us. I can't believe I'm agreeing to this. Yeah, fine. Do it. Go to parks.
Okay,
under the references, under the purple. This is terrible. Parks. Jethro, it's not on here.
Oh, shit. Is there another name for it? Grandview Scenic Byway Park. If you hover over Grandview Scenic Byway Park, it is Emerald. Woo!
That's right. That's what he said it was originally called, right? And they shortened the name.
God.
Oh, we found it.
Your apology is accepted.
My apology.
It was. Listen, you've done nothing but naysay this entire episode.
Unbelievable.
I'm offering suggestions. I'm moving us forward. All right.
Oh my
Matt,
God.
Here we did it.
I don't believe this.
We didn't like it. We didn't have fun. We love each other at the end of this, but here we are.
Yeah, we sure do. So I knew this was going to be a long one, and sure enough, it was. It took us nine months to get here, but I didn't write 9, and 9 wouldn't have been my original guess. You know what my original guess was going to be? What? It was going to be 7.
Yeah,
but I knocked it down.
Yeah,
because I thought, well, that was the advice that came from the master.
Yeah,
so let's give it a go.
Okay, so what'd you write?
I wrote down 5. You
wrote down 5?
Yeah, what'd you write?
Well, I wrote down 9.
Oh, no, you didn't. That's a 6, but it still wins. So why would you even care? Every time.
Can we please go to 10-minute walks just so we can
I'm
see
going to 10-minute walks.
How unhelpful it would have been.
Don't think I'm not. Hold on. Where did we see that initially? We saw that under Washington Square Park. Right? Washington Square Park. 10-minute walk. 10-minute walk.
Oh my God, what a short page this is.
It is a very short page.
The shortest page ever.
Okay, but where would that have taken us? That would have taken us to, hold on, let me take a look at what we got here.
Park Conservancy.
Maybe, I don't know about, maybe the Trust for Public Land. I'm not sure which one. Probably Park Conservancy, right? We probably would have gone through
Park Conservancy would have gotten us to the Pittsburgh Park Conservancy.
Okay.
Which didn't really help us at all.
It didn't. It didn't. Well, I mean, it did because eventually it got us where we needed to go, right?
But only because we sullied ourselves with the stuff at the bottom.
So it would have been Washington, and then to Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy, to Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy, to then. Oh well, then we would have gone to City of Pittsburgh from there, certainly, right?
I don't know. Who's to say?
I mean,
Who's to say, Matt?
I think we would have, and it probably would have. I mean, it would have ended up closer to 7, probably. I think that's probably. Are you sure? I'm sure of it. Yeah, I'm sure of it. So it definitely would have given. But I guessed 5. You guessed 6. It wouldn't have mattered. It would have been more than 5. You still would have gotten it. So it really doesn't matter at all. And I don't. I want to keep caring, but I think. How many episodes we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you are winning right now 1, 2, 3, 6-1.
See, so I'm only ahead by 5, Matt.
I almost have to run the table. Not quite.
Matt,
I can still
I believe in you.
A couple more.
I believe in you. You can do it.
Can I? What do you think, folks? Can I do it? Smash the like button and throw your thoughts in the comments. That's not. I'm doing the wrong thing. Jethro, this has been one of our longer walks, the longest of the season, for sure, and
definitely one of our most frustrating walks.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so Jesse, well done. If you were trying to stump us,
bravo,
you did a pretty good job because there aren't a whole lot of links into Emerald View Park, I would assume. But hey, who knows? Maybe there's a better path. Can you find a better path, listener? Let us know. And hey, let us know what destination you want us to go to, too, because we're already starting to book for season 10.
Wow.
Yeah. How exciting is that?
I can't wait.
Booking for season 10 already. So get your name on the list here, folks, because it's filling up fast. And I don't know. What do you think, Jethro? Should we do it again next week?
I think we have to. I mean, if nothing else, than to watch you get mad again.
That sounds great. I can't wait. Take it easy, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.